Today I want to talk to you about learning by doing. When I was younger, I was sure that I wanted to pursue architecture. It was my #1 passion in life, it was what I was interested in. I was going to do it as a job when I finished school. However, I didn't actually want to learn it. I couldn't draw, I didn't want to learn how to draw, and I never bothered to learn how to draw, and I still can't draw. And it wasn't until recently that I really asked myself, why? Why didn't I want to learn how to do this thing that I was supposedly so interested in? And it could be for a multitude of reasons. Difficulty, learning curve, barrier to entry. In truth, I think it's a combination of all of these, and this has been a pretty consistent theme throughout my life. Whenever I've wanted to learn a new task or skill, I always stop at step 1 because I'm scared of how long it will take to learn that skill. So, when I started doing YouTube around 5 years ago, I decided to take a slightly different approach. Instead of trying to learn the ins and outs of the platform before I actually started, I instead decided to just dive in, start making videos, and learn as I went along. When I started in the gaming space on YouTube, the Let's Play was the king. Let's Plays are videos where people play games and comment over the top of them, just giving insightful or interesting commentary on what they're doing. And I was sure that that was what I wanted to do. To be honest, I wasn't entirely sure why. I wanted some sort of success from it, I guess. Although, I never stopped to ask myself, what is success and what kind of success do I want from this? Is it money, fame, followers, or is it simply to make videos that I'm proud of? The truth is that I didn't know why I wanted to do it, and in the end I didn't want to do that. And change is okay because it's part of the learning process. Over time, as I was learning how to do YouTube, I changed the types of videos that I was making, and that's perfectly okay because through learning as I was doing it, I was able to develop and change over time rather than staying locked into one thing as I learned for 2 years and then started applying the things I had learned. So, I want to talk to you briefly about the first video ever uploaded to my channel in 2018. This video sucks. It's half an hour long, there is no editing done to the video whatsoever except to cut out loading screens or long periods of time where I wasn't doing anything. And I think that's very well evidenced by its length and the fact that it's one of 2 parts that are both half an hour long. The truth is I had no idea what I was doing and this video is incredibly amateur, but it's the first video I ever made and this in itself was a very important step in the learning process for me. So now I want to skip to a year after this as I had been practicing video editing and learning my presentation style and just all around getting better at what I was trying to do.
I have the ship now. Okay, well I'm going to transfer everything from my old ship onto this ship. Get off here and wait for someone to come in to trade with, and then I'll show you how you make money from that. I also want to see if there's a decent multi-tool to be bought here.
So you can see there's an actual cut there. The commentary is engaging. I'm actually sort of thinking about what I'm saying, although I'm not entirely confident yet. There's a big pause where I don't really say anything and then I think of what I want to say. So clearly I'm still amateur, but I'm learning as I'm doing it. Now I want to skip to an additional year later when I completely changed the style of content I was making. It was around this time that I decided I wanted to make more review-based analysis content of various forms of media, including video games, and this was the first video I ever made in that style. It was sort of a progression but also degression of what I was learning as I had to sort of relearn all these new things that came with this style of video. So this being the first video I ever made in that style, you'll be able to see me trying out the style but also applying some of the things I had learned in the previous 2 years.
4 of the secret levels if you can find them. Even with this, the base game is incredibly short. Although upon your first completion of the game, you unlock Master difficulty, and after playing through the whole game on Master, you unlock the even harder Apocalypse difficulty.
You can see there that I'm actually cutting things, my commentary is more engaging, there's background music, and the gameplay is matched to what I'm talking about, and so are the cuts. However, it still comes across as slightly amateurish, the cuts are a little offbeat, the cuts feel as if they're very noticeable, and that's one of the main things I always say about video editing, is that video editing shouldn't be seen or obviously noticed by the viewer. It should seamlessly flow with the video, and that's not something I was quite confident in yet. So now I want to skip to 2 years ahead of this. At this point I've been working on this style of video for 2 years. I've really developed a personal style, I understand what I'm doing, and I think that you'll be able to see a very great progression in this video compared to the last one.
Stray is a game I've been following ever since it was shown off at the PlayStation 5 reveal livestream in June of 2020. It's a cyberpunk game where you play as a cat. What more could you need? It finally released 2 years later, and it's even better than I expected. I have to admit that before playing the game, I was worried that it would be too gimmicky and not enough of a full experience. Luckily, Stray does not rely purely on the fact that you play as a cat to draw you in, but rather it crafts a beautiful and well thought out world and story where you just happen to play as a cat. In today's video, I'm going to give a gameplay breakdown and review of the full game. As with most Unreal Engine games, Stray is gorgeous. The dark nightscapes of the streets of the slums and Midtown are perfectly crafted.
So you can see that now I'm cutting based on what I'm talking about. The background music matches the video more, and the cuts don't seem jarring because they're matched to either the pauses that I make when I'm talking or exactly what I'm talking about. Additionally, the commentary is better written as I've been learning how to write this style of video for 2 years, and also better delivered and louder so that it's easier to hear. I want to finish this talk on a story, a book, and a conclusion. When I was discussing this talk with my grandmother, it came up that the topic was learning and learning by doing. And this was actually her profession. She was an English and philosophy lecturer at various universities, and she actually wrote a book on a very similar subject. This book is titled Learning to Write or Writing to Learn, and it's about exactly that. Learning how to write or writing in order to learn how to write. And I think there's a clear parallel to be drawn between this and what I'm talking about here. And I think the main takeaway from this is that this is such a universal experience that this book written 40 years ago has such a similar theme to what I'm talking about. And you know, it was amazing that through doing this talk, I was able to learn something about my grandmother and something about the topics that she used to talk about when doing her job back in the day.